Hello everyone and welcome to yet another breakdown of another patch notes that is. This time we'll be taking a look at patch 7.7. It came out yesterday, but I haven't had time to look it through yet, and I'm doing it right now because I'm off of school. Like, I have 2 classes that I don't have to attend to because they got cancelled, so I got some free time now, and therefore I will be doing it now so that you guys can enjoy it. Sorry, I'm fixing my microphone. Alright, well, anyways, let's just jump straight into it. So, first off, we have Amumu. His passive causes magic damage against the target to deal extra true damage rather than reducing magic resist. W deals more damage and ticks faster, so Amumu's basic attacks cause 15% of all magic damage dealt to the target to be dealt again. Okay, so that's a nice touch. I do feel like one of the biggest problems about Amumu is the fact that he has a hard time clearing out the waves in jungle. So I really do like this change. Will it make him viable? I'm not quite sure, because you still need to have tons of damage really to both be viable and have an impact in the game. Like stuff like Rengar and Graves, I guess for some Kha'Zix, Lee Sin as well. The reason why they work in the current meta is the fact that they can both clear their jungle really fast, and on top of that they can deal quite a lot of damage once they get out into the lanes. So with that in mind, it's not something that Amumu can really do. He doesn't pack a lot of damage, and therefore he'll have a little bit of a hard time helping his lanes. Like, he'll still be viable in low elos, but he won't be as strong as someone like Lee Sin or Graves, Rengar, stuff like that. But I do like that they change his W and his R. It'll help him a little bit. Still not the strongest ability and not something that'll make him 100% viable, but definitely will be a nice touch in terms of wave clearing in the jungle, and in terms of working in lower elos where people don't punish you as hard for picking a champion that don't really pack a lot of damage and pack a lot of clear speed. Passive from Alistar heals all nearby allies. E cooldown reduced. Empowered attack deals more damage. So it's not going to make that big of a change, like getting that change to his passive, because you still have to keep in mind you usually utilize his healing in laning phase. You don't really utilize it once you get out of it. It's not going to have that big of an impact. So in that sense, it's just a minor buff, not something that'll be game breaking, so to say. Tremble, that's his knock up, right? If I remember correctly, like that's the one that knocks people up. No, my bad. No, that's his Q, yeah. Okay, so that's the healing. Yeah, okay. Apparently I'm a bit tired. So that cooldown is reduced, means that he'll get a little bit more of damage. He'll have a bigger impact in the laning phase with that extra damage, which will give him a little bit of more power back. In terms of whether or not it'll be something that's going to be making him very viable, I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't say so. Sorry. Because you need to keep in mind that the supports that are strong right now are ranged supports, and Alistar will be very easily punished by ranged supports and stuff like Caitlyn, Lucian, stuff that can get away from him or poke him a lot. So it's going to be good for him to have this change if he can get into the meat of the guys, if he can just get in and get the meat shots, but I'm not quite sure he will be able to do so. He shouldn't be able to do so in higher elos at least. But gains bonus meep damage at every chime tier. Damage only tiers removed. Other tiers restructurized. Bard can now hold a maximum of 9 meeps. Meeps gain 15 damage every 5 chimes in addition to other chime bonuses. Okay, so a bunch of changes. Should be fine, some of it. Like, you won't have as much damage on your chimes as you used to, but you will have more meeps to deal with. So in that sense, it's actually good. I do like the change. Bard is not there to deal damage. He's there to bring this to the utility. So with him getting more of the utility, with him getting more to work with in that sense, I do think that's good. But we'll have to see, because I really want to see how it'll pan out, because you still have to keep in mind that he needs to have some sort of damage in order to actually be any kind of relevant in the laning phase. So I really want to see how it pans out. I don't really want to comment too much on Bard yet. Camille. W no longer heals of non-champions or duration reduced at earlier ranks. Yeah, I do think that's a good change. Like, she packs a big punch of damage already. Getting so much sustain that she has from minions too certainly is it's just giving her a little bit too much power to work with. So I do like that change, and with the Hextech Ultimatum having duration reduced as well, I do think that it'll make her laning phase in the early game a little bit weaker, which means that she won't be as strong as she is as of now, and certainly will be having her impact lowered a little bit, which I do think is fine, really is fine. Galio, passive damage down, Q missile ratio up, tornado zone damage down. So his passive is a smash. I haven't seen too much of Galio, to be honest. I haven't really I haven't experienced him that much in terms of how he works. I could imagine that his Q, with it being able to have its cooldown reduced after abilities being used, I could imagine that being very strong. So I do think that perhaps it is a good change. I still haven't seen too much, so I won't be able to comment too much in it. And then, of course, taking away 3% of the target's maximum health, but giving it over to the ratio instead. I mean, people have played him as much as I know in the top lane. He hasn't really been a mid laner, so I do think that when you take away a little bit of this, it'll tone his laning phase down a little bit, which could be fine. I haven't seen too much of it. I do think that maximum health is always something you have to be careful about. So taking away 3%, giving it 6% is still a fairly big amount to work with. So I do think that's perhaps good. True Grit no longer grants magic resist. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so basically they want him to have some weaknesses that people can exploit. And I do think it's a fine change, because he is fairly strong. He has everything that you could want from a jungler, more or less, except crowd control, hard crowd control. But in terms of tankiness, in terms of damage, he has everything. So I do think that is a good change to take away some of his magic resistance. Whether or not it'll hurt him too much, I'm not quite sure. It'll certainly tone down his early wave clearing a bit, as the red buff I do think is magic damage, or is it blue buff? I'm not quite sure. But one of those are strong in terms of magic damage, and that'll certainly make it so that he'll take more damage. Also from the Grom, of course, he'll take more damage. So a good change. It'll perhaps it won't shift the meta junglers, I have to predict, but it'll certainly make it so that there might be more a shift in terms of the tiers. Like right now, Graves, in my opinion, is the best jungler you can get, but he might just shift down a few levels on, and then Lee Sin or Rengar will go on top. Probably Lee Sin, but we'll see. Jarvan the 4th, W base shield higher at earlier ranks, slightly lower at rank 5. W bonus shield per enemy hit now based on Jarvan's maximal health. So his base shield is higher at early ranks, but slightly lower at rank 5. But I do like that. That doesn't mean too much, because again, you utilize it more in the early game to get through your early clears. What I do like is the change to his to the bonus shield, because it makes it so that in a team fight it's still very viable, because you have to think that even though Jarvan usually is a bruiser, we don't see him too much in the jungle. If he goes into the jungle and plays as a tank, or even in top lane and plays like a tank, or a bruiser for that matter, you usually build a lot of health. And now getting that bonus shield where you are granted bonus shielding according to Jarvan's maximum health will make it so that he'll have a bit more tankiness to work with in team fights, which certainly will be a good change to him, which could perhaps put him a bit up in terms of the ladder of meta champions. E cooldown reduced at later ranks. Yeah, sure. Wouldn't say that it's needed, but sure. Casting W attack fixed to no longer cancel against target that leave its range. E cooldown reduced or radio increased. Good changes. Gives him a bit more power in terms of dueling, which he really needs. Rift Walk. Perhaps give it a bit more. Don't see 0.10 ability power being the breaking point, but certainly isn't bad and will help him a little bit in terms of what he needs to be able to duel and split push. E cooldown increased at early ranks. That is her shampoo. So it takes away a little bit more from mobility. It's hard to punish Katarina because she has so much mobility, so I do think that with her having this nerf, it makes it easier to punish her, which you certainly need against Katarina, because with all the mobility that she packs, she is a bit of a pain in the ass, so to say. Our refund locks. Our refunds part of its cooldown if it kills a champion. Okay, so I've heard about this change. I've seen people tweet about it. So, okay, I actually want to do some math on this. Alright, so what's the cooldown of this? Lux. Oh wait, perhaps that's the wrong page. Lux. Okay, let's see. The cooldown is 50 seconds. Okay. If you put that on top of it all, 50 seconds. Oh wait, that's 52. 50 seconds. 50 seconds divided by 100 times 45. That's 22.5 seconds you can take away from it. 50 minus 22.5. 50 minus 22.5. Oh my god, and divide that by 2. Then you get a cooldown of 13 seconds and 14 seconds. Basically, you get a cooldown of 14 seconds. What the hell? That's a very low cooldown, and even at, oh my god, even at like level 1 and 2 of the ultimate, you'll have such a low cooldown. Well, the team fight with Lux is going to be so disgusting as of now. If she is able to get resets after resets after resets, she can deal so much damage in team fight. Like in late game team fights, every 14 seconds she can fire off her final spark. Holy hell. Well, I mean she needed some changes to make it viable. Is this the way to go? We'll have to see, but I'm sure it's going to be something that can give her a little bit more power back to work with. Passive causes Nunu's next ability to cast at 1 rank higher than Nunu has leveled it. Base health and base health region down. Base health and base health region down is fine because he has so much sustain already from his Q. But his new passive, Nunu's next ability is upgraded by 1 rank. Okay, interesting. Oh, nice, in the late game. Oh, that's even more smiting damage. Holy hell, that means he'll have 2,140 damage to work with over his opponent. Or even, and his blob. He's going to be so interesting. I really hope that some people pick him up, because that's quite a lot of utility you can get off of him. You can get slow, you can get attack speed for your carry if you perhaps have a Lulu Cockmore in the bottom lane. So you can even get so much objective control. This is going to be very interesting, and it's not only in the late game. Like, you can have objective control very early on if you have, let's say, a level 4 consume. Then you'll already have over 1,000 extra damage to work with. That's going to be very interesting to see. Very interesting. I hope people pick him up, because that's a lot of utility you can suddenly get and work with. Q damage reduced at later ranks. Base damage. Okay. Fine. He's packing quite a lot of damage, so you need to take that a little bit away from him. I don't want you to take away his mobility, his on the hunt, his bowler. I wouldn't want you to take that away from him, because then you just destroy what is in its essence Rengar. So I do like these changes. It seems like a small and not very hard hitting nerf, if you put it that way. E recharge time increased. Yes, do that, because Rumble's armor system from his electro harpoons means they can poke quite a lot, and if you are ahead as Rumble, you can deal so much damage with his electro harpoons while also having so much catch potential, because it's slow. So I do like you putting some recharge time up. Passive damage, attack damage scaling down, Q base damage removed, cooldown increased, Q abilities power, radio, mood passive. So yeah, he'll be stronger in terms of backstabbing now that he also has ability power there. Wait, what does his Q even have if you're removing all of its damage? Like, does it only have slow then? Oh, okay, so it's the backstab. Okay, I understand now. Okay, so yeah, the damage just moved to his passive. He will be toned down a little bit in terms of what he can do if he backstabs someone, but not too hard a hit at all. Still not a viable jungle at all. Doesn't pack too much wave clear in the jungle. Doesn't pack what or have what. Sorry, he doesn't have what Lee Sin and Rengar and stuff like that has. So not going to be viable. Lee Sin, Rengar, Graves. Q damage reduced at lower ranks from Talon. He had a lot of damage to work with in the early game, which meant that he could just be so punishing all the time. So that's a good change to him, while still keeping him fairly viable, because people have been playing him from time to time. So I do like those changes. I do think that that's something that can tone him down a little bit while not totally butchering him. Good changes to Talon. We'll still keep him viable in the mid lane too. Perhaps you could take away some of his mobility too, but that would destroy him. So I do, instead of this, just tone down his laning phase while still giving him the potential to roam. Seems like a smart decision. R can bounce twice as many enemies. Okay. Summoner's Rift. Raptors more HP, less damage. Yeah. Yeah, so just making them in some sense a little bit more punishing, because they will survive for longer while still packing, well, not exactly packing more damage, but they will have a little bit more to work with. So in some sense they can still be punishing, at least for some people who, like Rengar or Graves, has some AoE damage. Then now they will take a little bit more time to kill, which means that killing the big bird can take some time, because the raptors, the small ones, will still be alive to block the big one, so to say. So in that sense, it's actually fine change, which means that people will have a little bit more, so less momentum to work with in the jungle. So I do think that this concludes the end here. Well, thank you all for watching once again. I hope you enjoyed this patch rundown of patch 7.1. Do remember, find me on Twitter, Facebook, Medium, LinkedIn, whatever, and I'll see you next